steroids are taken 8 or 9, 10 weeks before competition. It's not a healthy thing to do, but it's being used.
Did you take them?
I took them, yeah, up until the competition.
In 1965, the Mr. Olympia competition emerged as the ultimate battleground for bodybuilders pushing the boundaries of the human physique. Over the years, it showcased some of the most impressive and at times downright freakish competitors. However, as the 1980s drew to a close, the sport of bodybuilding found itself caught in the crossfire of the growing concerns surrounding steroid use in mainstream sports. The Wider brothers, Joe and Ben, the masterminds behind the Olympia, realized that they needed to take drastic measures to avoid controversy. The 1980s witnessed a surge in the use of anabolic steroids in sports, dating back to at least the 1954 Olympics. In response to this, the International Olympic Committee, IOC, began drug testing at the 1968 Games. Not confined to bodybuilding, the issue of steroids gained increasing prominence outside the sport. In 1985, Sports Illustrated published a revealing exposé titled "Steroids, a Problem of Huge Dimensions," shedding light on the use of performance-enhancing drugs in high school, collegiate, and professional sports, including the NFL. It was Lyle Alzado, a former NFL defensive end, who claimed that 75–90% of some teams' players used steroids, though it was difficult to prove since the NFL didn't test its athletes. These revelations, coupled with concerns about the health risks associated with steroids, began to dominate headlines. In a watershed moment, the 1988 Olympics in Seoul, South Korea, saw Canadian sprinter Ben Johnson stripped of his gold medal after a failed drug test. Such controversies, combined with growing concerns over the health implications of steroid use, further fueled the call for action. Eventually, in 1990, the United States Congress passed the Anabolic Steroid Control Act, which classified steroids as a controlled substance and made their sale or purchase illegal. The decision to introduce drug testing in bodybuilding in 1990 was a direct response to these broader changes within the United States and the desire to avoid unwanted attention. While the Widers publicly stated their aim was to bring bodybuilding to the Olympics, it was evident that they were feeling the wider political pressures and needed to act swiftly. Although natural or drug-tested bodybuilding contests had been taking place in the United States since the late 1970s, 1990 marked the first time elite bodybuilding events were subjected to the rigorous standards of the Olympics. The protocol was implemented at two of the sport's most significant competitions, the Arnold Classic in March 1990 and the Mr. Olympia in September. The Widers ensured that the media was well informed about this transformative change. The 1990 Arnold Classic, in many ways, proved to be a disaster. While competitors were tested at the event, it took 4 weeks for the results to be available. This delay created considerable turmoil in the bodybuilding community. Sean Ray was initially crowned the winner, only to have his title revoked when his failed drug test results came in. Other athletes who failed included the 1983 Mr. Olympia Samir Bannout, Nimrod King, and Ralph Moeller. 8 months later, Ray and his peers faced the first ever drug-tested Mr. Olympia on September 15th. The same philosophy applied. A positive test for anabolic steroids would lead to disqualification. The Arnold Classic debacle had already demonstrated the organizers' willingness to be ruthless in this regard. The introduction of drug testing at the 1990 Mr. Olympia made headlines across the United States. It is astonishing that despite the media attention and the stakes involved, many athletes still failed the drug tests. 4 competitors tested positive for the anabolic steroid Winstrol, the same drug that led to Ben Johnson's downfall. Another competitor was disqualified due to elevated testosterone levels. The list of failed competitors included Barry DeMay, Mohammed Benaziza, J.J. Marsh, Van Walcott Smith, and Vince Comerford. For those who passed the tests, a noticeable difference was apparent in the physicals at the 1990 Mr. Olympia compared to the previous year. Bodybuilding historian Peter Magoo noted that reigning Olympia champion Lee Haney appeared soft on stage, while perennial runner-up Lee Labrada was not as tight as usual. Ultimately, despite the challenges posed by the drug testing, Haney retained his title, securing his 7th Olympia championship. Labrada finished second, narrowly missing out on the top spot. In the aftermath of the 1990 Mr. Olympia, it became clear that drug testing was not a sustainable path for the bodybuilding industry. By 1991, the sport reversed its course on the drug testing protocols, and the Viters' initial efforts were abandoned. National Physique Committee President Jim Manion provided a straightforward explanation for this decision. We lost about half of the competitors in the show. The paying customers want to see the biggest and most ripped athletes. The promoters couldn't make money if people didn't show up. The 1990 Mr. Olympia remains a pivotal moment in the history of bodybuilding, a fascinating chapter in the sport's evolution. It is a testament to the complex relationship between athletes, performance-enhancing drugs, and the pursuit of the perfect physique. Ultimately, the pursuit of a clean sport clashed with the industry's commercial interests, and the sport of bodybuilding returned to its roots. Let's delve into a few legendary bodybuilders who dared to break the silence and openly admit to their steroid use. Flex Wheeler, a name that resonates through the annals of bodybuilding history. He was a force of nature, sculpting his body into something straight out of a comic book. But what most didn't know was that Flex was on steroids throughout his career. His journey was marred by physical struggles, including a kidney transplant, which led to constant use of medical steroids. In his biography, Flexibility, he laid bare his steroid use, starting as early as 18. His difficult childhood, marked by early trauma and fatherhood, left many empathizing with his choices. I did what I had to do to rise above it all, to be something greater. It wasn't just about being a bodybuilder, it was about survival. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the man who needs no introduction in the world of bodybuilding. He admitted to using steroids during his career, but with a twist. Arnold used steroids primarily to maintain his muscle mass during the cutting phase, not for muscle building. In the pumping iron era, steroids were not as frowned upon as they are today. They were more readily available, and their side effects were less documented. Arnold remains a hero to many, not just for his bodybuilding achievements, but also for his life beyond the stage. Steroids, they were a part of the game back then, but let me make it clear, I didn't use them to build muscles. I used them to shape the masterpiece. Dorian Yates, a 6-time Mr. Olympia winner, stood out not just for his trophies, but for his candidness about steroid use. In 2011, he penned an article for Muscular Development, breaking the taboo. Dorian's status as one of the greatest bodybuilders in history remains untarnished. He's admired for his work ethic and determination, having transformed his body through sheer dedication, training, and, of course, steroids. Steroids were a tool, but they didn't lift the weights for me. I had to put in the work like no other. Frank Zane, an artistic sculptor in the world of bodybuilding, admitted to using steroids during his career. His unique approach to aesthetics left a lasting legacy. Frank's acknowledgement of steroid use doesn't diminish the artistry in his craft, and his fans still admire his dedication to pushing the boundaries of what the human body can achieve. Ronnie Coleman, a name synonymous with power and dominance in the bodybuilding world. He openly discussed his use of steroids during his competitive years. Coleman's incredible strength and achievements continue to inspire many, and his honest admission about steroid use only underscores the extraordinary effort he put into his career.